engaging celebrity interviews, exciting updates from Christian filmmakers, movie reviews so you can choose your movies wisely, and so much more here on Faith on Film with Isaac Hernandez and Holly McClure.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of Faith on Film. I'm Isaac Hernandez here with my co-host, Holly McClure. Holly, how are you doing today?
Doing great. You're going to have a good interview today, aren't you?
Yes. A few weeks ago, or rather a few days ago, I had the opportunity to talk with Brennan McPherson, who's the producer of an animated movie called Light of the World. Now, Light of the World is by the way, it's a 2D animation, so it's really kind of a throwback in style. It's the story of Jesus as shown through the eyes of his beloved young friend, the Apostle John. Now, what's interesting about that is he put the Apostle John as a young teenager, which is totally different than we're used to, but it really worked in the story. Now, the story takes us from the beginning of Jesus' ministry through his crucifixion and resurrection. Now, after that, you've got some very interesting and exciting news to talk to us about, don't you?
We do. I'm excited about it. All right, let's get into your interview and we'll talk about movies.
Sounds good. Here we go. Here's the trailer.
Your taxes, can you pay them or not?
Yes, of course.
Oh, no.
My son, John, is right here with your money.
3 days, double what you owe. And if you can't pay, we take your father to prison.
I brought someone who can help. This is Jesus.
Never heard of him.
He's helping people. I want to be a part of that. This is my chance to show up.
No, we've talked about this. It's just a story.
Papa?
We're gonna need a bigger boat!
I knew a guy who ate those.
The baptizer?
With the honey and the wild hair.
Ooh, that gets me every time!
Tell me about this Jesus.
Jesus is no Messiah. He is nothing.
And sometimes evil men silence those who speak the truth.
What is truth?
This is not the end. It's the beginning.
Light of the world.
Brennan, welcome to Faith on Film.
Thank you.
So, Light of the World opens in theaters September 5th. Can you tell us a little bit about your movie?
Sure. It's a classically animated 2D feature film on the life of Jesus, like the old school 90s Disney films. Think Mulan or The Lion King or Beauty and the Beast. And it's the story of Jesus, his life, ministry, death, and resurrection through the eyes of his youngest apostle, John.
Now, I'm glad you said his youngest apostle. So a couple of questions here. First, what inspired you to tell the story through the eyes of the Apostle John? And I noticed that you said the youngest apostle, but you really made him a kid. Is there a reason for that? Actually, I think I know what that reason must be, but I'm going to let you tell that.
Yeah, there's many reasons. I'll answer the first question of why we chose John to begin with. We really wanted to tell this story in a way that we hadn't seen it done before. And we wanted to tell it from a unique personal point of view of someone who is transformed by Jesus. And the reason for that is so that the audience can see how and why Jesus changed John's life and that he can change their lives as well. The other reason why we chose John is that he was the only disciple who was actually present at the crucifixion. And we knew we wanted to cover that. So that narrowed it down really nicely for us right then and there. The other thing is when we were researching, and this is touching on both questions now,
Right.
when we were researching the actual original disciples, their age and their personalities, we found that scholars generally agree that most of them were likely teenagers. And there's actually some clues in scripture that are the reasons for this. One of the clues is that only Peter had to pay the temple tax, and you had to pay the temple tax if you were at least 20 years of age, which right then and there implies, now we don't know for sure, but it does imply that likely the rest were teenagers. Culturally, historically and culturally, we know that that was common. When children were 13 years of age, they left their family to go join a rabbi. And so we portrayed John, you know, assuming that he's the youngest apostle, we don't know for sure, but we portrayed John as a young teen as a result of that. And he was actually played by a young teen as well, the actor who played him. So we thought it was actually more true to how the disciples actually were. They were not 40-year-old men with beards. And it tells it from a unique perspective we've never seen before. And so that was exciting to us.
You know, that is something completely new to me. I mean, I had never heard anybody mention that and use that. Of course, in all the Jesus movies you see, they're always older guys.
Yeah. Well, and there's disagreement about it, of course, because it's never stated in scripture how old they are. But, you know, that's what we think is likely. So
that was interesting because, I mean, obviously the reason that I thought I was, okay, that'll make it more relatable to young kids who really is kind of your target audience on this. So to hear you say this now just totally opens up a whole new perspective for me. Wow, that's exciting. Now, another thing, of course, that I noticed, everybody right now is doing films with AI now, and, you know, the animation, I mean, it almost looks real live action. Here you did it in 2D. Why was that?
Many reasons. First of all, we love it. We think it rocks. And I grew up on the old Disney features from the 90s and before that were classically hand-drawn animated films, and I absolutely love them. They're very different from CG films, and they give you something that a CG film just doesn't give you. And so we think it's an underserved market. This is the film we wanted to see, and so we made it because it didn't exist. Another reason is hand-drawn animation is beautiful forever. You go back and watch the original Toy Story, the first one, and you can tell when it was made, and stuff nowadays looks much better. Usually CG animation looks dated in about 3 to 5 years. I mean, computers are just progressing at such a rapid state,
right?
That it's a bit hard to keep up with. We wanted to make a film that was a classic for 20, 30 years. And if you go back and rewatch Pinocchio or Bambi, those were released, I believe, in the 1940s. And you know what? My kids love those films and watch them as if they were a new film. So we wanted it to be a timeless work of art, and we thought that 2D was the right vehicle for it. We also wanted it to be a unique fingerprint, and you know, we could design that world in a way that was like a children's storybook come to life in the form of a 2D film in a way that we couldn't really do in a CG film.
You know what? You are so right, because I do, you know, I've watched movies that were done maybe, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago that were now done in, you know, in that computer animated stuff. And I can almost say, oh, that doesn't look as good as it does the stuff they're doing now. But if I see something like what I saw last night with your movie, by the way, I watched the entire movie and absolutely loved it. Folks, you got to go see this movie, okay? It releases September 5th at theaters nationwide. Go see it. Take your kids, take your grandkids, take the neighbor kids, take whoever you can. Even if it's just you as adults, you are going to enjoy this film. But anyway, yeah, I saw it and I didn't look at it and go, oh, it's old style. It was just a style that, to me, like you said, it's timeless, really. And I appreciate it a lot more. I think kids will, really kids and adults, I think it helps us to use our imagination perhaps a little bit more than when it looks too real anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's my touch on that. Now, you didn't just do this all by yourself. You had quite a team as part of this movie. How did this team come together?
Mostly through relationship and a boatload of hard work. It took, you know, many years to make this film. Animation takes, you know, from 3 to 6 years usually to make an animated feature film. which is much longer than most live action films. And it's because everything has to be designed. If you see a spoon, someone designed that spoon. If you see a blade of grass, someone designed that blade of grass. It's crazy. But our nonprofit ministry, the Salvation Film Project, is the production company behind it. And early on, we had hired on one of the directors, John Schaefer, as an employee of the ministry. He was previously the lead producer of CBN's Superbook series. And he had worked with Tom Bancroft, who became his co-director. And then Tom Bancroft brought his twin brother, Tony, on board, who became our animation director. And so it's, you see how there's relationships that lead to these things. Right. But the reason why they came on board, because they're very discerning, picky artists, was because they loved the art, and they jumped at the opportunity to do a 2D animated feature on the life of Jesus. This was a dream project for them as much as it was for us. And many of the people who worked on it, they were in the same boat. And even a lot of the people who were atheists or agnostics who were artists jumped on board to the film because they loved the art. They thought it was beautiful and something that they were proud to be a part of. And in the process, many of them learned what we stand for and believe in as Christians, and grew a compassion for Christians that they didn't have beforehand. Some of them came up to us and said, I always knew what Christians stood against. Now I understand what they stand for, and it's actually beautiful. It's really changed my perspective.
Right. Now, this is going to be a tough question because I know that you must love your entire project. I know when I saw the movie, I loved it all. I can't even think of like one scene that popped out at me. I just loved the whole movie. But do you have maybe a favorite scene that just kind of was something that really touched you personally?
Yeah, and it's actually a very personal scene, something that I pushed for very early on to be in the film. There's a moment in there when Jesus loses someone very close to him, and John walks up to him and sees him weeping. And the reason why that's so personally impactful to me, and why it was it's one of my favorite scenes, is because at the beginning of this production, I lost my brother to cancer.
Oh my goodness.
And to know that the Jesus that I've given my affection and heart to is not only has lost people and grieved and wept himself, but also that he grieves and weeps for my pain in compassion, is something that's intensely meaningful to me.
Wow. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. How long ago was that?
That was roughly 4 years ago, a little over 4 years ago.
Okay. So about 3 years ago, I lost my brother, my younger brother. I'm the oldest in the family. He would be the second, and I lost him to cancer also. So I can see how this can become very personal. And then, to be honest with you, literally right now, we're going through a situation where my daughter, about 3 weeks, 4 weeks ago, 3-4 weeks ago, got diagnosed with a very rare, I think there's only like 36 cases in the United States, form of cancer in the back of her tongue. Literally yesterday, we brought her home from the hospital because they did have to take it. Originally, they said they were going to have to take her whole tongue. She'd never be able to talk anymore or eat normally. She'd have to be tube fed. We prayed like you wouldn't believe. And you know that when it was all that they were going to have to crack her jaw. But when it was all over, they only took 25% of her tongue. They didn't have to crack her jaw. She got out a little bit earlier from the hospital, and she's in recovery now. So wow, it was a very personal thing. So yeah, I'm sorry to hear about this about you, but yeah, I can see how that scene was definitely a very personal scene to you. So when people go see this movie, and again, I hope as many of you as can just get out there and see this movie. Trust me, I don't think I've ever pushed a movie as much as I have this, just because I see it as an amazing way to tell the whole story of Jesus. And by the way, I love the lightheartedness. You put a lot of before I even ask the next question, you put a lot of lighthearted stuff in there. Tell me a little bit about that, actually.
Well, it is called Light of the World.
That's true.
Yeah, I mean, we wanted to show that you could be reverent without being boring.
Yes.
And, I think that that's valuable and important. My experience of Jesus is that he's the source of joy. And I believe he knows the best jokes. I think he knows all the jokes. So, he gave us joy. He gave us laughter. He created it. And why? Why did he? Because he wants us to enjoy it. It's a gift from him. Yeah. And so when he walked the earth, yes, he was a man of sorrows, acquainted with grief. but he also laughed, and he was kind, and he was warm, and he loved. He had all the passion, all the fury, all the elements of human emotion were wrapped up in him, but perfected. And we felt that to be truthful, we had to portray that. And also, man, we're making a film for families. It better be fun.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And you know what? I think that is one of the things that I appreciated the most, because most Jesus movies make him look like this very somber guy that walks in slow motion. I don't know.
Yep.
I've never seen a smile. That's what I appreciate about the Chosen series, is they gave him a real humanity. They made him like a normal person. It makes you be able to relate to him a lot more. Okay, so what do you want people to take away after they see this movie?
I want them to fall in love with Jesus and decide to serve him with their lives. That's very straightforward.
That's it.
But you got to make that choice for yourself. So
yeah. There's another thing that I really appreciate, by the way. And normally I say, movies don't have to have altar calls. I mean, if it's a Christian movie, not every Christian movie has to have an altar call. But this one's so really did. But it was in such a way that I just found it to be, I almost wanted to get resaved again.
Well, yeah, we hope that people will be moved by it and think it's beautiful. It really, that moment is the capstone of John's arc. That's the point where he's showing how much he's changed. It's him turning into the evangelist that we knew him to be through history. And it felt important to show, and also very valuable to the audience as well.
Beautifully done, Brennan. So again, where can audiences go to find out more about Light of the World, which again releases September 5th, theaters nationwide?
Go to lightoftheworld.com, find out how you can buy tickets there, and you can see a bunch of behind-the-scenes featurettes, play free mini games, get free children's curriculum. There's a bunch of resources there. So go there, buy tickets for September 5th, take your friends and family, and all the box office proceeds go to supporting the ministry. They don't line private pockets. And so by taking people there, you're not only ministering to people you bring, but you're also supporting the ministry work of crafting stories to share Jesus with the world.
Amen. Fantastic. Well, I know that right now all your efforts, all your thoughts are on this movie as it gets released. Do you have anything in the back of your mind of what your next project is going to be?
We actually are in the midst of production on other projects right now. And so we're burning the candle at both ends, so they say. But we're working as well on a 6-hour play experience interactive video game called Clayfire. It's a full fantasy, kind of in the feel of Narnia. And it's inspired by the Gospel of John.
Fantastic. We need, that's another thing. We need video games for kids, because what's out there right now is absolutely horrible.
It's kind of a wasteland, and the video game industry is bigger than Hollywood and the music industry combined. It's absolutely massive.
That's right.
And there's very few people who have significantly contributed spiritually positive video games that are actually good.
Wonderful. Well, I can't wait till you get that out, and we'll have you back to talk about whatever project you've got releasing next. Let's have you back so you can talk about it. Again, everybody, Light of the World in theater September 5th. Get out there and see it. Brennan, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you so much.
We'll be right back, folks.
Hi, I'm Brennan McPherson, producer of Light of the World, and you are watching Faith on Film.
What makes Capernaum Studios different from other movie studios? We believe in empowering filmmakers to make stories that matter, inspire, uplift, and transform lives. From historically authentic sets to state-of-the-art, fully equipped sound stages, we offer immersive LED and green screen stages, ICVFX virtual production, period to modern sets, a first-century village featured in The Chosen, and much more. We provide everything filmmakers need to focus on what matters in making their vision a reality, producing meaningful content affordably without compromising creativity. Discovering what's possible when creativity meets purpose. Capernaum Studios, empowering filmmakers to make dreams a reality.
What do you have to gain?
Pretty much everything.
I have loved you every
day, every hour, every minute, every second ever since. We don't always get what we want, but we always get what we need. We're connected, all of us.
Welcome back. You know, I had a lot of fun talking to Bren and Holly.
Great interview, Isaac. Really
Thank
good.
you. The movie was just, you know, it's an animated movie and you would think, oh, it's a cartoon. I don't think of it as a cartoon. I think of it as just another way of telling this story, which I enjoyed a lot. I mean, it was, in fact, you know what was one thing that I really appreciated about the movie itself is they actually had sort of an altar call at the end. Now, I'm not one that feels like you have to have altar calls in Christian movies. That, you know, that's not my way of thinking, but this one really worked. And I just really appreciated that they took the time to do something like that. And it was very exciting to see that. And of course, the movie was fantastic. And seeing the Apostle John as the Apostle John as a young kid was kind of very interesting. I found it very, very interesting. However, Holly, what
New perspective.
a new perspective. And I remember telling the guy after the interview, I said, you know what? I appreciated seeing that altar call. It almost made me feel like I wanted to get saved again. That's how impactful. That's how impactful.
Get saved again and again after another movie comes out. It'll be 2 years, but Mel Gibson has just released the trailer that he is doing Passion of the Christ Resurrection. Okay. It's after the resurrection, of course, that, you know, he films it. It's Passion of Christ 2, they're calling it. And it's going to be in 2 parts. And it's going to be in 2027. Some people would saying it was 2026. It's not. It's going to take some time to AI and special effect hell with this hideous stuff that Jesus goes to. And so I think I remember him talking about how that was going to be hard and take some time. But in 2026, very interesting. He's going to release it in 2 dates, and it's going to be within 40 days. It's going to be on Good Friday, which in 2027 is March 26th.
Okay.
40 days later on Ascension Day, and Jesus ascended. So you know that's in the movie. You'll be the second part, and that's on May 6th. So I just love how he's coinciding it biblically with those events. So that, and that's, you know, smart. Now that he did the Passion of the Christ team, learning of marketing, that's an amazing way to do it. But it's going to have so many come to the Lord to see this movie. You know that it will.
I'm assuming it's going to be in Aramaic again with the subtitles.
I don't know, because he knows he had to have the subtitles in there, and he probably is going to continue it. So my guess is probably, I don't know. I don't know how it will change in, you know, what happens when Jesus goes for the 3 days and when he ascends. But yeah, I'm assuming it be the same.
I have to admit, I liked it at first when it came out. You know, the original Passion of the Christ.
Yes.
I thought, oh man, because I don't like reading subtitles. But I guess it's because I always think of, you know, movies that are maybe in Spanish and they subtitle them in English, and I know both languages, so it just made it rather annoying. But when I went to see it, I found that I was able to not only read the subtitles in English, but still connect with the overall movie. And it really worked to hear them speaking in a language that just was so completely different, which of course is Aramaic.
So different.
I was fine with it.
And I loved hearing how Mary Magdalene would say, Yeshua, Yeshua. I love when you would hear them say Yeshua. You know, I mean, it was like going, that's how it would have sounded. I did appreciate it. So that's interesting. Well, there's that. Another box office news right now, fantastic. We're still in theaters, but barely. It is the first movie, the biggest box office drop in Marvel history. Okay. And in fact, Pedro Pascal, he plays the lead. They're not even including him in the follow-up. So, and he was saying when we did the clips on it a couple of weeks ago, it's a different style, and a lot of people are not going to appreciate it or like it because it's an old 60s kind of Jetsons look. And if you don't know that, you don't really like that after you've seen some of the other hero movies. So interesting. But these studios are paying attention to what these tent movies are doing and not doing because they're losing a lot of money for them. And then also,
how much did it make over the weekend?
It made the first weekend 11.1, and it was a $250 million budget. So yeah,
Don't Marvel movies? But Marvel movies usually make that in the first hour of their release.
Yes, first hour, the first release. I know, and so you know, it's under. It went down 80% the second weekend. They never do that. 80%. That means everyone came and thought, oh, this is great, and then you know, interesting. Side note, I think Mike Chiklis played the Stone character Rockman in a Fantastic 4 years ago. I think he did do that. And another good note, I love this. For King and Country, okay, for those of you who follow that, Joel Smallbone, he's going to be starring in an upcoming George Washington movie, which John Irwin's making. And guess what? Releasing it July 4th weekend for the birthday celebration. It'll be a George Washington movie celebrating 250 years and our first president. So we're going to have a lot of stars and interesting people, and made by fiction.
Yeah, and they make great movies, so I have no doubts this is going to be just as good as all the movies they've been making.
Absolutely, absolutely. So much fun, so much to look forward to.
Wow. Well, Holly, we've got we actually have we've got 3 minutes left. No, 2 minutes left. We got 2 minutes left. Anything else that's going on maybe at your neck of the woods over at Capernaum Studios? I know you guys got some things always coming up.
We have announced on Capernaum that we are having attractions, special attractions that will be seen at Capernaum in the next, we're going to have a grand opening next summer. But folks, if you're curious, we are already putting stuff on a fundraising line for Indio, and we're also on our Capernaum Studios. Tammy Lane, if you follow her on YouTube, she's been talking about it, and she's just come out and promoted the fact that we are going to have family-friendly theme park attractions. And when I say a theme park, there'll be Land of the Giants, which we've heard about, Nephilim, and there'll be a train that's going to take you through a history, the tribulation train, like in the beginning of the Bible, that'll take you through to the tribulation, and you get out and you're going to be in this house post trip. It's going to be interesting. She's got ideas that God downloaded to her, and literally downloaded to her. I said, okay, just notes, and this is what I want you to do at Capernaum. And I'm excited because it's going to be family friendly to get a community that families to be able to come. Where else is there a theme park for families to come and learn about the Bible? And I mean, there's the art and there's the Bible preaching, but I mean, this is going to be a theme park where rides where you get in and you ride through the Land of the Giants in a boat. It's going to be fun. There's a lot of fun stuff is planned. And there's already like broken ground on it in construction. So yes,
that's exciting. That's exciting. I remember when I first went to visit Capernaum, and it was just basically a little village. And look what's happened. Unbelievable.
And look what's happened. Look what God did in 20 years. He's
all right.
Absolutely.
Well, we'll keep up with it and bring more reports on that as it progresses, right, Holly?
All right. Yes, we will. I'll be
fantastic.
Any pictures.
Fantastic. Don't forget to check out our website, folks, faithonfilmtv.com. That's faithonfilmtv.com. Well, Holly, that's it for today.
That's a great show. Thanks, everyone. God bless.
Bye-bye now.
Write to us at faithonfilmtv@gmail.com. That's faithonfilmtv@gmail.com. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Faith on Film TV. Also, go to our YouTube channel, Faith on Film TV, and hit the subscribe button and the bell for notifications on our latest Faith on Film shows.